Welcome back, everybody, to all our viewers and listeners. Now we're going to speak about International Day of Nonviolence, which was celebrated yesterday. With me this morning is a member of the movement, Nonviolence Begins With Me, and her name is Candice Clark-Saloom. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's speak about the movement first and foremost. What is Nonviolence Begins With Me?
So maybe I should start with how we started. So about 3 years ago, there was a spike in violence, if we could believe that, violence and crime in the country. And a group of us just started to get together, the Living Water community. I mean, literally people that we didn't know just wanted to do something.
Right.
And so we started to meet on a Monday afternoon. I remember those Monday afternoons so well. And eventually we just, started to corral together. More and more people who started to hear about it and started to come to the center. And it was just a group of individuals. Some came from as far as Point Fortin to just sit down and be able to express, dissatisfaction, express whatever emotion that they had to around the violence and crime in the country. And that slowly grew into something that we wanted to formalize. And we did a lot of research. We had persons from the University of the West Indies who would come in on a Monday sometimes and share data, share their experiences, etc. And so we became a little bit more formal, and we're not a formal group, but we do call ourselves a movement for Nonviolence Begins With Me. And what we decided to do after some research was really focus on the individual. And so realizing that very famous Mahatma Gandhi quote, if we want the change needs to start with me.
Right.
And so this is an international movement, actually. It's not created in Trinidad, but we decided to adopt it here because what can we do in the face of violence? We can start with ourselves. And so we then, we had something in 2017. We had 40 days of prayer and action because we realized that it was people came and they felt that there needed to be a spiritual aspect, a spiritual component to really solving crime and violence in society. And so we had that. It was quite successful. We had groups participate, and we ended with a peace rally at the Queen's Park Savannah on Easter Sunday, which was really, really, really lovely. We had, dozens of artists give of their time free to really spread that message.
Spread the message of nonviolence. Of
Begins with
peace.
me, yes.
And of love, of course.
Yes, and today is actually International Day of Peace, which is the flip side to nonviolence.
Right.
Yes.
So what has the movement done for International Day of Nonviolence, which was yesterday?
Yes.
And what are you going to do for International Day of Peace?
Okay, so we focus on the nonviolence, but peace goes hand in hand. Yes. So what we launched yesterday was a social media campaign targeting our young people. But anyone is open to enter this competition, and it really is using your phones, which everyone has.
Right.
I read somewhere where we have more phones than people in Trinidad, and so using that medium to really do some kind of reflection. What can I do in my space to stop the violence? So it's 1 minute long. You do some kind of reflection. Some people are very talented using their phones, as I have seen. So you can go all out, or you can just do a simple kind of monologue reflection on what nonviolence begins with me really means. And that goes for the month of October. We have two aspects of the competition. So one is most likes, and the winner will be announced, I think, October 25th. And then we have the overall winner. And we have some Amazon gift cards, which I know are very appealing to our young people. Yes, yes.
And is there a certain hashtag that would be trending that you'd be using for this, being that it's on social media?
Yes. Hashtag Be the Change, NVBM, Nonviolence Begins With Me. So you can look out for that, yes.
Yes, so for the month of October, you need to log on, and you have a Facebook page.
Yes, we have a Facebook page, Begins With Me. Yes.
Is it Nonviolence Begins With Me TT or just Nonviolence?
Nonviolence Begins With Me.
Okay.
And we have, so it's both an Instagram and a Facebook competition. So we can go on, and there's a lot of material that we have, particularly on our Facebook page, that allows you to really reflect on what this means. And if I can go back to those very early days when we started meeting, everyone thinks that violence is outside of themselves. There's a bad driver who cut me off this morning. I have a bad neighbor who parks on the opposite side of the road. And what we, you know, it even happened to me. And what we saw happening is that you get a realization that, you know, sometimes I do break that red light, just as it turns from yellow to red, you know, and how am I contributing to that? How many times do I, that man who cut me off, you know, how do I respond in anger? How am I with my coworkers? How am I with my children? That kind of self-reflection that, that allows you to see. It does for you to realize.
You have to hold yourself accountable a lot of the time.
Absolutely, yes.
You know, so yeah, again, you know, starting that change within yourself, and then having that change blossom outward. You know, there's so many people with the same goal and directive in mind. You know, I don't see why it wouldn't start affecting change.
Yeah, it can't be that you. I mean, how do you change somebody? You can only change somebody if it really depends on how you interact with that person. That changes the dynamic. So it comes back to starting with me, you know. And I've had, you know, on our social media, on Facebook, a lot of people angry that, you know, I'm not contributing to the violence, and we want you to just go one step ahead. You know, it's government's responsibility, or it's, you know, the regional corporation, or it's the police. But it really, and yes, they have accountability, of course, but, you know, we each can do a part.
Yeah, we each can do a part. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, Candice Clark-Saloom, and, you know, wishing you the best with the social media campaign for Non-Violence Begins With Me. Fantastic movement and fantastic directive.
Thanks for having us.
All right.